Gary Birdsall, South Salt Lake Chamber, welcome. We had a bunch of these last year, and last month we started 2022 off with these monthly happy hours. And I can talk over people talking, that's okay, but I will shame you. I'm not going to talk too much longer now, except a guy I've become a very good friend with. I'm going to bring him up here in a minute. Terry Swash, and raise a hand over here, Teresa Bakasarova, run the Women in Business Committee, and there's several Women in Business Committee people here. She does not want to come up, and that's okay. Did you want to say anything?
Nope.
Wow, you don't? Scott, did you record that? That I went well? Mark, would you come up, please?
Woo! Mark!
Marc Christensen, I'm going to have him start from scratch. The first time I met this guy, we were just out here around a pile of dirt, breaking ground. Tell us the history. Marc Christensen, the owner, founder of Dented Brick.
Thank you all for coming. It's really important for us, for people to know we're here. We've been here 6 years, and most people still don't know we're here, so I appreciate it. I'm going to give you a real quick, brief history. If you'd like to come back and do a normal tour and tasting, I can give you a little bit more formal overview of the history of the facility and the history of our labels and how we make product. But we decided to build a distillery back in, we started in 2011 actually, started raising money. I started going to Kentucky, going to school, learning how to make bourbon, and it took us a few years to raise a bunch of money to do this thing. We kind of planned it all out, got a contractor to get us a bid. We were trying to find a property. We had it all drawn up, we had our money, we had our contractor ready to go. In federal law, you can't be within 500 feet of a church or 500 feet of a school. And we're in Salt Lake City, right? So I didn't think we were going to be able to find property. And about 8 months in, we found the property we're on now. There's this little brick house on the property, and the people that owned the house, they were using it as an office. They were well drillers, and Grandpa was a water witch dowser, and he would go along with a cherry twig, and he could feel the cherry twig reaching for water, and he'd tell his kids where to drill, and they would drill down until they hit the groundwater. It's called an artesian well, and they specialized in artesian wells. They drilled artesian wells all over the valley here. And lucky for us, we have an artesian well on site that we use in our fermentation processes. It's 280 feet deep, and it has 28 feet of head pressure. So that means there's a valve out there. It's in the parking lot, that little metal plate out there, and the water will shoot 28 feet in the air 24/7. And it doesn't have any city chemicals, so in our fermentation, we don't have any chlorine or bromine or fluoride or any of those chemicals to interfere with our fermentation. So it ends up giving us really special qualities to our spirits, which we think is one of the reasons the spirits are exceptional. So it turns out we bought the property. It took about 4 months or something before the contractor could start, and we turned off the water and everything, and all the trees in the yard and the grass was dead, and the neighbors called and they wanted us to come clean up the place. And so we got a work party together with some of the owners, and we came over and opened the house up. A lot of people hadn't been to the property yet, and somebody noticed at the front of the house, at this brick house, there were all these bullet holes. And it turns out that one of the well drillers got in a shootout in the front of the house and was killed on the front porch of the place. And so, out of deference to the well driller and how important the well is for our spirits, we decided to change our name to Dented Brick Distillery. So that's why we're called Dented Brick, the bullet holes being the dented bricks. We actually took bricks from the house. These are bricks from the house going into the distillation chambers. When we finished our tasting room, you guys are the first party ever to be held in our tasting room. The outside of that's going to have bricks from the house on it, so it'll look a lot like the old brick home. So the first thing we did Antelope Island rum. We thought we wanted to do rum, and we needed an island, and we've got an island here, so we've got Antelope Island rum, like island rum, right? Get it, man? Yeah. And then we started making vodka, and when we built this building, the contractor, I told him the ceiling height had to be 28 feet inside height in that distillation chamber. And our stills were on order. It took almost 3 years to get our stills from Kentucky. And so he had finished the building and left, and the stills finally showed up, and we brought him in, and we drove him through those doors and stood him up, and it wasn't 28 feet tall. And we couldn't stand the vodka column up. And so I called the contractor, and he said, hey, it's no problem, we'll just raise the roof. And he came in and he cut holes in our brand new roof in there. You can see the columns actually shoot out of the roof, and we capped them with these little sun cap things like that. So anyway, that's why it's called Roof Raiser Vodka. We literally raised the roof. We built this place to be a whiskey distillery, but it takes 2.5 or 3 years to make whiskey. So we were making the clear spirits, vodkas, gins, rums, while we were getting ready to go on our whiskey. We had some whiskey under production, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to call it. And we found out about this fellow named Hugh Moon. He was a distiller here, and he distilled for the church back in the 1840, 1850 era, clear up until about 1880. His family was the first family that was converted to Mormonism from overseas. Back in the 1840s, Heber Kimball, Brigham Young, and Joseph Smith went to New York Harbor. They sailed to Liverpool, England, and they converted this whole family of Moons to the Mormon religion, Mormon faith, and they all came to Nauvoo, Illinois. Hugh Moon was a distiller in Nauvoo, Illinois, and he would distill for all the members of the church there at Nauvoo until Nauvoo was destroyed and Joseph Smith was killed, and then he came on with Brigham Young to Salt Lake City and set his distillery up here, literally here on this property. We found out a lot of family members are very supportive of us recreating a lot of these old historic labels, and they brought us a lot of historic documents. And they have a plat map, and Hugh Moon actually owned this property that we're on at one point. So that's why we're Hugh Moon Whiskey, and we've got a couple other historic whiskey guys from Utah that we're going to be recreating. It's kind of interesting. There's a quote on the back of the white whiskey bottle from Brigham Young asking people in Salt Lake City to not buy whiskey from distillers that weren't Mormons. So we always thought that was interesting. So there's a pretty rich history there of distilling and whiskey, and we're pretty fortunate to have found it and be doing it. So I think that's about. I'll keep it short and sweet tonight. But again, if you want to come back and do a tour sometime, we'll give you a whole history. We'll show you how we make everything, and it's pretty fun to give you another tasting.
Tell them how they sign up for tours.
Oh, you can sign up for tour online, or you can just call a retail store.
But you're going to do mini tours
I can.
throughout
Sure.
if you want.
Yeah, just come and find me. I'm the guy with the green sweater on. Well, except for that guy and that guy and that guy and that
Thanks. I've been in Utah since the early 70s, and I love the bit of history. I think you're going to find out in my religious leanings that there was someone who made whiskey for the Mormon church. That's awesome. And then they quit. Okay.
Church or make whiskey?
What? Oh, well, Sharon said the church or the whiskey? Leave it to Sharon. So who's next?
It's our council.
Okay, Leslie. Leslie, I want to say, is the mayor, Mayor Wood, please?
I would love the mayor to go up there.
Okay. Well, I just want to, did you want to make a comment, Mayor,
Yeah.
to this incredible establishment in the city?
I feel like I talk to you guys all the time, but welcome to South Salt Lake, Dented Brick. Awesome and very artful way to say a shootout happened here. Thanks for keeping our history in the forefront. Just super excited that this month is celebrating all the women in the workplace, and at City Hall we have a lot of women that work for us, a lot of awesome women. Just thanks for supporting our awesome Women in Business event. Hi, I'm Leslie Allen with the South Salt Lake Arts Council, and I also wanted to point out Clarissa Williams is one of our new City Council members, so shout out to Clarissa. One of the really fun things I get to do in my job is work with our creative businesses in the city, and that includes, we consider anybody that's doing anything fun a creative business, and that includes our breweries and distilleries. And I remember when these guys first opened here, they were our first distillery, and I was so excited that we had one in South Salt Lake. Now we have 7. So it's so much fun to work with them. I just wanted to give a shout out to our upcoming Mural Fest. It's an event we do every year in May. The Arts Council sponsors, we commission 10 murals in downtown South Salt Lake, and this is the 5th year, and we have artists coming from all over the world. So mark your calendars. They'll start painting around May 1st, but mostly about the 8th through the 13th, and then Saturday, May 14th, we have our artist meet and greet from 5 to 8 p.m. So please come. Oh, sorry. I'm also happy to introduce someone for you today. One of the things we wanted to do at each of these happy hours is to spotlight one of our creative businesses or artists in the creative industry zone, and today we have Dave Evanoff. And I'm really excited to introduce Dave because Dave and I go back to junior high school, and he works at Counterpoint Studios, and he is an amazing person and an awesome guy, so I'm going to turn it over to him. So enjoy.
Hello, as a lifelong touring musician and rock and roll player, being here surrounded by booze makes me feel right at home. It's great to be here with you. Thank you all for having me. I, in 2002, leased half of Counterpoint Studios, which is on 2335 Southwest Temple. I have been there now over 20 years and record music for all kinds of things. Albums, just finished Air Supply's 40th anniversary album. Alice Cooper just did an Alice Cooper anthology piece. Music for television, a little thing you may have heard of, High School Musical. I've been involved with that for now since 2006. What's his name? Zach has slept on my couch. Efron, of course. So anyway, I was trying to think of what I could do to present and give you something to show a little bit of what I do. And I started my life as a jingle writer. And I've written, as I went through this research this week, I went through over 5,000 jingles, here locally and around the world. But I grabbed a 5-minute little snippet of the work that I've done here locally, and I just hope it will give you a little historical trip through Utah advertising, Salt Lake advertising, and some of the things that I've done over the years to annoy you all.
Anthony and the Denver Nuggets.
Hello, sweet wings, goodbye, hungry. Salads and sandwiches waiting for me. I'm waiting for superior life.
You know what it is when it comes to good eating. Guys, we're singing, we're bringing. It's time to do some whacking.
What styles do you rock? Your eyewear says a lot about you, which means when you go to Standard Optical, you can save twice as much.
Great stores statewide, wherever you go, we got you covered at Big O.
There you go, my annoying life in 5 minutes. I just want to mention that, you know, you can see now somebody over a 30-year career has written those annoying jingles, but here in South Salt Lake we've employed dozens and dozens of musicians, singers, not to mention the actors and the other people that went on to the other production value that went into these commercials. But writing those silly little jingles has been a busy part of South Salt Lake for a long time. Anyway, thank you for having me. Enjoy your afternoon.
Question, if you don't mind answering, if you can talk about them, what gigs do you have? What can we watch coming up in the next 9 months produced by you?
Well, certainly when the new season of High School Musical starts, the vocals, anytime you hear somebody sing, that comes through the studio. Right now, if you were to go out, get online and buy the new 45th anniversary Air Supply album, that was done by me. It's hard to think of anything off the top of my head, but right there, High School Musical.
Awesome. Thank you.
In our own backyard.
Yeah.
I have to admit it, I'm embarrassed. I did not know. That's why we do these type of things. So thanks for setting this up, Leslie. Okay, so where did Terry go? Terry? Terry, come make the intro.
Denise, you've recently joined our Women in Business. You're an amazing addition. You work for an amazing company. I think it's so great that you're going to be here, that you bought the first round for everyone, first 25, and you're going to give us an introduction. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank the Chamber for putting this event together. And it's just amazing what you guys are doing with the community, bringing businesses and professional individuals together to build connections and relationships, and what better way than to do it over a few drinks. So thank you so much. Also, thank you for allowing us to tell us a little bit about what we do. And so my name is Denise, and I'm one of the plant consultants. Jared is one of our co-founders for the company. He'll actually be sharing some juicy details about the history of 401go, the inspiration, and what led us to be here, and what also makes us different in the 401k industry. So this is Jared.
Yeah, it can only be Jared, okay? So whenever you hear that, think of me. So I know that everyone was planning on having, you know, St. Patty's Day, have some spirits, and talk about 401ks. That's what I know you were all thinking about when you're driving out here. So to give you a little bit of history of a 401k, because most people, when you talk about a 401k, the first thing you think about is something else. And your eyes roll to the back of your head. Now, the history of a 401k is riddled with dead bodies and bloodshed. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's not. It's really boring. And most of it is because it's meant to be that way. Now, back in the 70s, late 70s, everything was kind of a pension plan. You worked for a company, and they paid into your pension, and you stayed with that company. That's what you did. You had no control of what was there. It was just paid in there. Hopefully you got more because your tenure with the company, and you just kind of kept with that, and that was what it was. And in the late, like 79, a guy named Ted Benna, he discovered something within the tax code that would allow employees to contribute to their future, their retirement. I mean, crazy idea, right? You could take a portion of your paycheck and put it into something for your future, and you had control of it. Anyway, in record time, the IRS ended up, putting it into the code, and that's what's known as a 401k. And I know that doesn't ever happen. The IRS and record time, they don't go together. Anyway, the 401k, that component became really complex and burdensome for businesses. And most of the businesses that would have a 401k were of a large size because it was complex, time-consuming, and expensive. They had to hire a bunch of people to manage that. And as time went on, we got smart and technology caught up. And we started to realize that it didn't have to be that complicated, and that it was created that way because, you know, people get paid through that complicated part of things. So what we did when we came together as co-founders is we looked at the 401k as something that could be automated and made much better. So a small business with 1 to 2 employees would have an opportunity to have a 401k, and they didn't have to wait until that day in the future to have a 401k, because it was always in the future. We know we have clients right now that have been around for 40 years and never had a 401k because of the expense and everything else that comes with it, and they can finally have that. So we've created a solution that you can get set up same day, be ready to go, and it's a like benefit where your employees can start putting money away, and you could basically step away and have that benefit for a fraction of some of the other benefits that are out there. So that's the problem with some of these benefits out there, is they're viewed as so complex and so expensive. So with 401go, that's what we do. We're focused on small businesses so that they can provide a benefit for their employees. They can get set up same day, really quick, and it's not going to be so expensive that they can't afford it. And so this is our custom platform. We put it together for that very reason, to help small businesses. Because right now I think it's a little over 40 million employees are employed by small businesses, and about 80% of those employees have no access to something to save. Now, they're not going to go to the bank, they're not going to go to credit union and start an IRA. It just doesn't happen. So if you have a benefit like that, they're 15 times more likely to start putting money away. Even you'd be surprised that some of these employees, if they start putting money away and they're younger, they would have a sizable retirement that's there, and it's mobile. You can take it with you as you move jobs. And so we think this is a benefit that is going to not diminish, it's going to increase, and it's going to be more prevalent. So we're just excited about what we've created, what we have. I know it's really nerdy. Most of you are probably like, a 401k, but it's amazing what the technology out there, what we're doing, all the features we're adding. Anyway, thank you for the chamber and allowing us to do this, and I hope you enjoyed the spirits that you had, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for the time.
And if you guys have any questions about 401ks and how to get started on it, if you own a business, please ask us questions. Me, Jared, we have also the other co-founder out there, Daniel Bagg. We'll be more than happy to help you guys out with any questions.
Okay, so I have a question. So it sounds like the smaller companies are the ones that you should be talking to. Like, what's your company size that is perfect for you, that makes sense?
One employee? Do they have one employee? We can do that.
So our main focus is small to mid-sized businesses, and the reason being is because a lot of these businesses were discouraged in offering a 401k because they're expensive, they're complicated, and how Jared mentioned, we were able to build a solution to offer it in a very simplified and affordable way.
Woo! Okay, you have some stuff to give away.
Yes, we actually have merch, so if you guys would like to come by and pick up some socks, 401ks should knock your socks off, so come on over.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Okay, and then Teresa, she maybe, with Mosaic Bakery, she's got the baklava, so please be sure to check that out before you leave. And then Gary, I think we're done. Like, let's do some tours and some mingling.
We haven't talked really about the baklava.
Yeah, I just,
If we're going to
okay.
talk about it,
So Mosaic Bakery is the one that's providing this amazing baklava from Teresa Bagdasarova. I think she left. Right, like, I feel like Sharon, like, you're a really good describer of... What? We love your baklava, Teresa. Why aren't you here? She has a great story behind it. Woo!
Huh?